Welcome to this overview of the CARE project. What it is, what it aims to achieve, the concepts being explored, and the activities in place. Let's begin with some context. I want to share a heartbreaking story. In 1992, in Barranquilla, Colombia, one of the areas where we're working, a horrific crime took place at a university. 11 waste pickers were lured onto the campus with the promise of collecting cans and boxes. Instead, they were brutally murdered, and their bodies were sold to medical schools for anatomy classes. This tragedy came to light because one waste picker survived. That moment marked a turning point. Waste pickers, a group previously invisible, suddenly became recognized. The case sparked the Global Waste Pickers Day movement. A few years later, the first global conference for waste pickers was held in Colombia, and legislation followed to formally recognize their role in waste management systems. Recognition was only the first step. The next is to improve quality of life, ensure ethical and inclusive engagement, and integrate waste pickers into sustainable waste management for equity and better impact. For context, the aluminium sector employs around 1.6 million people worldwide. Yet, estimates suggest there are 20 to 40 million informal waste pickers, mostly in the global south, who play a key role in collecting, sorting, and returning aluminium to circulation. Nearly half of global post-consumer aluminium scrap is handled by waste pickers. This is often clean, high-quality material if sorted properly. But when contaminated with plastics or other waste, its environmental benefits are lost. Recycled aluminium can even cause higher emissions if polluted. This highlights the crucial role of waste pickers. To maximize the benefits of recycling, systems need to be more inclusive and address the labour, social and environmental risks tied to collection. To put the scale into perspective, between 200,000 and 500,000 people are directly affected by bauxite mining globally. Compare that with 20 to 40 million waste pickers working with aluminium and other recycled materials. Aluminium scrap currently accounts for 35% of global aluminium demand. To meet 1.5 degrees Celsius climate targets, scrap must rise to at least 50% by 2050. That means scaling from around 24 to 26 million tonnes today to potentially 81 million tonnes of post-consumer scrap in a maximum scenario. This creates growing dependence on recycled content and rising pressure on producers and brands to prove responsible sourcing and traceability, even for recycled materials. The challenge is that aluminium scrap often travels undocumented routes and is anonymized before it reaches remelters. That means we lose visibility of origin, actors, and associated risks. This is where the CARE project comes in, which stands for Collective Action for Recycling and Empowerment. The project works to formalise the role of waste pickers in aluminium recycling in Colombia, aligned with global responsible recycling principles and standards. CARE is built on 3 strategies. First, a comprehensive diagnostic study and mapping of stakeholders to identify gaps and opportunities for market formalisation and traceability. Second, targeted training sessions for recycling organisations and waste pickers, covering topics such as scrap quality, formalisation, safety and occupational health, and human rights awareness. Third, integration with existing extended producer responsibility platforms in Bogotá and Barranquilla to support effective collaboration among waste pickers, cooperatives, local authorities, and communities. Strong partnerships underpin this work. Collaborations include Canpack and Crown, Sempre, a local NGO managing EPR platforms that connect waste pickers to the private sector, and international initiatives such as the Roundtable for Responsible Recycling of Metals, ARBOR, and REMA in the US. These global connections ensure alignment with international frameworks for responsible recycling. The project scope covers 16 waste picker cooperatives, 8 in Bogotá and 8 in Barranquilla. More than 320 individuals are directly reached through training and pilots. Indirectly, improvements benefit around 2,200 people. The project also engages local authorities, brands, and other stakeholders. The activities follow 4 main phases: stakeholder mapping and resource analysis, training, pilot implementation, and dissemination. Mapping is nearly complete. Training has started, and pilots are being designed on the basis of diagnostic findings. Dissemination runs in parallel, supported by regular partner meetings. Stakeholder mapping involves around 100 interviews across the value chain, with waste picker cooperatives and individuals, intermediaries, traders, processors, car manufacturers, authorities, and beverage brands. The aim is to build a complete picture of material flows, pain points, and opportunities. Engagement tools from the Circularity initiative, originally developed for plastics but adaptable to other materials, are also being tested. These help assess themes such as economic empowerment, health and safety, autonomy, inclusion, collective representation, and gender equality. The project is also part of the Fair Circularity Initiative's Living Income Studies, previously carried out in India, Nigeria, Brazil, and Ecuador, and now for the first time in Colombia. The studies compare current income to both minimum wage and a living wage that reflects family needs and quality of life. Future phases will fund remediation and capacity building based on findings, with support from private sector sponsors like Tetra Pak, Nestlé, Coca-Cola, and Unilever. Resource mapping has revealed surprising results. While international figures report Colombia's recycling rate at 15%, the reality is closer to 80%. However, most material is exported due to limited domestic processing capacity. Around 16 of 20 tons annually are shipped abroad, mainly to Brazil, the US, and China. This makes it hard to establish local circularity, especially given low recycling rates in the US and demand for scrap in Asia. The recycling supply chain is highly complex. Scrap can pass through up to 8 intermediaries before reaching a processor. Waste pickers collect individually, by bicycle, or with small vehicles. Cooperatives aggregate at level 3, from which material may go directly to remelters or pass through warehouses and traders at level 2. This web makes traceability challenging. Cooperatives offer the most potential. When they aggregate, they gain stronger negotiating power for better economic and social conditions. To support traceability, a Power BI data hub has been built based on interviews. It shows that aluminium commands higher value than other materials like PET, glass, or cardboard. But that value creates challenges. Because it is so valuable, aluminium is often intercepted before waste pickers can collect it, by building staff, street collectors, or informal actors. This limits the role of waste pickers in traceable flows. About 70% of collected aluminium is in the form of cans. Most cooperatives lack machinery, though some have compactors and vehicles. Collections are largely at the residential level, and materials include cans, sprays, pots, profiles, and bicycle frames. Waste pickers highlight top needs, such as machinery and better material prices. Studies suggest the issue may be perception. Aluminium is valuable, but the small volumes collected mean it doesn't contribute significantly to monthly income. Other needs include freight payment and awareness of favourable tax regimes. In Colombia, waste pickers pay only 1.6% tax on income, far lower than the 20% applied to other services. But many are unaware of this benefit. Challenges remain: low availability, price volatility, high handling costs, competition from informal actors, poor consumer sorting, and safety risks. Infrastructure quality also varies widely, with some cooperatives working in very poor conditions. Health and safety training is critical, as many operators work without it and often don't report incidents. Fires and other accidents underline the vulnerability of the sector. A Train the Trainer session has also been run with IPAF, so participants can join the group linked to this project and benefit from its association with IPAF and human rights. Half of the group has already received health and safety training, but none had been trained on human rights. This is the first time. Training sessions are often held in modest conditions, sometimes in a cooperative space, other times outside with a TV used to show slides. Additional materials such as posters can be left behind, so participants retain access to the knowledge after the sessions. 2 pilot projects have been developed through workshops with stakeholders, considering options such as developing data capture tools through the EPR platform to improve traceability, creating and training on safe working standards to reduce high operational risks, offering benefit programs such as healthcare, education, and housing tied to employment or contractor arrangements, and ensuring fair wages, potentially going beyond national standards based on living income studies. For reporting, dissemination, and scaling, the project has joined the ISEAL First Mile group. This group explores inclusivity and traceability from the point of origin to the first official processing stage. The concept of the circular first mile was introduced to complement work that has traditionally focused on linear first miles in agriculture, and it has been well received. While the linear first mile for aluminium is industrialized and stable, the real challenge is improving the circular first mile. Work is also underway to explore how waste pickers can be integrated into the next version of the ASI standards. The discussion centres on what can reasonably be required of ASI members while ensuring stronger traceability and inclusivity. These issues will be taken up with the working group and the Standards Committee during the current revision process. To conclude, recycling starts with people. Informal waste workers are essential for aluminium circularity, yet they remain largely unrecognised. Traceability is not only a technical issue, but also a social one. Workers at the circular first mile must be empowered, and inclusion is the key. Achieving a just transition in recycling means addressing wages, safe working conditions, and long-term economic integration. While this project is a test case in one country with its own particular conditions, it can and must be adapted elsewhere. The project's work continues with activities including diagnostics, multi-stakeholder workshops, pilot projects, and the development of further guidance, tools, communications, and webinars.